Good morning, kids. This is Teacher Elodia, and welcome to Science. Before we proceed to our new lesson for today, what have you learned about our past lesson? Very good. You learned about forms of energy. Can you give me the different forms of energy? Sound energy, heat energy, light energy, and electrical energy. Very good. Before we proceed to our lesson for today, do you want to play a game? You have to rearrange the jumbled letters into a correct word. Are you ready, kids? Let's start. And your answer is heat energy and light energy. Very good. What is heat? Heat is the transfer of thermal energy between two systems that are at different temperatures. The energy is always transferred from the warm object to the cooler one. The system will transfer heat until both objects are at the same temperature. There are three methods of heat transfer: conduction, convection, and radiation. What is conduction? Conduction is when heat moves through direct contact. Molecules bump into each other and give some of their energy to other molecules. An example would be a spoon placed in a pot of boiling water. The flame never touches the spoon, but the flame touches the pan, which heats up the water molecules. Then the water molecules bump into the molecules of the spoon and heat them up, causing the spoon to warm up. What is convection? Convection is the transfer of heat in air or through a fluid current. Heat is transferred to some molecules and then those molecules are moved away and replaced by new ones, such as the rising and falling of warm and cold air. Convection only happens when you have things moving. One example is a fan blows air on you. You feel cooler. Convection happens when hot air rises. The hot air goes up because it is less dense, the amount of mass per unit volume an object has, and the cold air comes down because it is more dense. The cooler air then becomes hot and rises, and this creates a cycle of transferring molecules. This is also what happens in a hot air balloon or boiling water. What is radiation? Radiation is the transfer of energy as electromagnetic waves. This does not require a medium like conduction and convection do. This is how the sun heats up the earth and why you get warm near a campfire. The heat moves by infrared waves in the electromagnetic spectrum. What is light energy? Light is a form of energy. It travels in straight lines. Light waves travel in straight lines away from the light source until the waves hit something. Therefore, we can see straight beams of light coming from flashlights, car headlights, and the lamps. Unlike some other kinds of energy, light can travel through the vacuum of space. If it could not, the Earth would not receive light from the sun. Objects and materials interact with light. When light shines on an object, the object may absorb, reflect, or refract the light. The object's properties determine which of these events take place. When light strikes matter, three things can happen. Number one is light can be transmitted. Light passes through the substance it strikes. Transparent, light passes through so you can see clearly. Translucent, light passes through but it is scattered so you cannot see clearly. Opaque, light does not pass through. Number two, light can be absorbed. Light passes into the substance and is held there. Number three, light can be reflected. Light strikes a substance and bounces back. Reflection occurs when light bounces off objects. How much reflection depends upon how even the surface is. If the surface is rough, the light scatters. If the surface is smooth and flat, the light will bounce off it at equal angles. That is why a flat mirror reflects a good likeness of the object being reflected. Things that reflect light, like mirrors, surface of smooth water, and other smooth, shiny surfaces. What is refraction? Refraction occurs when light bends. A lens is a piece of transparent material. It is usually made of glass and has at least one curved surface. Notice how the object appears distorted, bent, or broken. Refraction is often referred to as the bending of light where two different materials touch. We most often see this property as light moves between air and water. The light is traveling at a certain speed, but when it makes contact with water, the light waves are forced to slow down. This causes the object that the light is hitting, like a flower stem in water, to appear to be bent or broken. What is absorption? Absorption occurs when the light is not reflected or transmitted. The color black is a great example of something that absorbs light. Black does not reflect any colors of light. It absorbs them all. The colors that our eyes are able to see result from objects' reflection and absorption of light. The color that we see is the color that the object reflects. All of the other colors are absorbed by the object. For example, the yellow apple appears yellow because it is reflecting yellow light. The red apples appear red because they are reflecting red light. They are absorbing the other colors of light. Let's proceed to energy transformation. Energy transfer refers to the movement of energy from one place to another. Think of the electricity that flows from your wall socket, then moves through a charger and into a battery. The energy is being transferred from the wall socket to the battery. Electrical energy can be converted or transformed into other forms of energy. For example, heat, light, and sound energy. Circuits have an energy source, something that uses energy, wires for the energy to flow through, and a switch to interrupt the flow of energy. Electric current flows through a path called a circuit. A circuit is like a big loop. In order for the current to flow through the loop, the paths must have no breaks. In other words, it must be closed. A closed circuit has no breaks in it. An open circuit has a break. An electric current travels along a wire from a battery through a switch to a bulb or other device that uses the energy and finally back to the battery. If a bulb is lifted out of the loop or circuit, it will not receive the energy from the battery and therefore will not light up. Electrical energy can be transformed into sound energy. A speaker is a device that uses energy to vibrate. Vibrations create sound waves, which your brain interprets as sound. Now that you know the electrical energy, heat and light energy, and sound energy, draw or cut out the pictures of objects you can find at home and list each of the energy transformation. Be sure to use the correct vocabulary: electrical, light, sound, heat. Make only one illustration using these types of energy. Explain your work in at least 5 sentences. You can collaborate with your elder siblings, guardians, or parents. This is the rubric for your activity. These are the questions for all the things that you have learned today. Read the questions below and choose the letter of the correct answer. Write your answer on the answer sheet. Thank you so much for participating today. I hope that you have learned a lot. See you again.